Paul from Wolf Software Systems, and I haven't done a video in a few days, maybe this week, because we've been very, very busy with something called WolfRouter. One of our users, thanks very much, you know who you are, talked about OPN Sense and how we could do with actually replacing that so that you can actually have it built in. So now we do have WolfRouter. So if I click on it, it's per cluster. It actually shows you straight away, it's picked up a Mercusys router. It shows you the 3 servers in the cluster and what ports are actually connected to the router. Now, if I click the little power button there, it opens a new link through to the site, to the router admin, so it's in one place. And it's got quite a few different options. You can set up DHCP, you can set up DHCP leases, you can do zones. We've got a policy map here. This is, you can zoom in and out of that. So if I go to, there we go, zoom in and out, you can see all the containers, and then you can run traffic simulation across routes in the cluster to see how fast they're going, etc., etc. We had one guy who actually said on Reddit that he discovered that Tailscale was actually routing all the traffic through Tailscale, so they managed to fix. This is PPE connections. Now I know somebody's actually got one of these. It works really beautifully, and then I haven't got this set up on this machine. We've got like a sort of Wireshark style packet sniffer, some stuff to do DNS checking. So in fact, it's saying there I'm missing the traceroute tool on this server, so I'll just hit installing like that, and then I can do pings, traceroutes, who is all through the web interface, which is kind of nice. And there's some firewall logs as there. I haven't actually set up the firewall at all, but you can see all your firewall stuff. So that's basically as far as it kind of goes, which is quite a lot. So this is a kind of typical home lab kind of thing where I've got 3 servers, and you can see the data coming in. You can see how fast things are moving through the network. Over here, we've got an enterprise kind of situation, as you can see, with 4 clusters. Well, this one's got 6 servers, so we're going to pick on that one because it's quite interesting. And it's got a virtual network, so that's why this is going to look a bit weird, because it's going to look like it's got 6 routers, because effectively it has, as you can see here. And you can see the data going through. It's gradually picking up the data speeds. You can see where the bottlenecks are. And over here, we've got the containers and VMs that are running on those servers. Again, there's no point clicking on the power buttons on these ones, because they're they're actually virtual servers in a data center. In data center, these are all in data centers. So I'll have the same thing. If I go to here, you'll see that we've got a pile of servers. There's 3 servers there. They're all going into different network switches. So that's kind of what I'd expect. And this one's only got 2 servers, this cluster. But the beauty of this is one of the beauties of WolfStack is you've got everything in one screen, unlike other platforms where you have one cluster in one screen, and then you have another tab with another cluster, and another tab with another cluster. So that's all that. We've done quite a few improvements to, let's find something with an LXC containers. So we've done quite a few improvements to networking and storage on LXC containers. So you've got both views. You can view it like this and view it like this. Also, the AI scanner now is looking for security problems all the time, so that's going to help with certain things. So if I bring up the storage on here, you can actually resize storage, migrate the storage there, and then in the settings again, we've got the network here. So I'll pull it up. You can see all the network and change the settings, obviously as before. Bind mounts, features, all this sort of thing. This is just the same, and this is actually a Proxmox server, so it's running under Proxmox, but it's got WolfStack loaded on top, because you can just kind of install it over the top of it. So it's really ideal for running lots of clusters and lots of servers. The other thing we've done is we've added to the virtual server room, if you've got a VR headset, you can actually walk around your server room, and we've actually added quite a lot of things to this. So as you can see, it's just brought up the network routers. So it actually has a rack for the network in the server. It's quite neat. So you can actually so if I've got VR, there's a VR, just click on it, and then you can walk around the server room and touch servers. So there's quite a few things in it. If you go to wolfstack.org, there's a massive website now with all the documentation on how to do things. We've tried to make it so that if you're a new user, if you're a home labber, or you're new to networking and new to servers, it's pretty kind of easy to set stuff up. And that's the goal of it, is to take away the having to edit tons of config files every time you want to do something. And we've got AI here as well, which you can use to ask questions about your network. Other things we've got, obviously, there's quite a few. This is an enterprise setup. If you want to go enterprise, you can actually do it online. We don't charge per call, we charge per machine. So we don't care if you've got 100 cores or 5 cores, doesn't really matter. So it's actually free to run. Anyone can run it for free because it's open source, but to get the extra plugins and things like that, you need to it needs to be an enterprise version. So yeah, so there's like system checks. You can look through security, users and authenticity, downloads and uploads configs, setting up your AI agent. You can set up alerting to talk to Telegram. You can set which icons you use. You can set what's on the sidebar, because some people like, so for instance, if you don't use 3D server room and you're not going to use global, yeah, so there's, you can turn all that stuff off. So you can really strip it down to just the things you use. There's loads of themes as well, including my favorite Star Trek theme, which allows you to run it in as if you're flying the Star Trek Enterprise, which I know serious business people wouldn't possibly be interested in this, but you know, it's there for fun. And do join our WolfStack Discord. It's well worth joining that. We have there was some lively discussions and ideas going on in there. And we're really keen to have people join up and build a kind of community. And also, if you fancy it, if you're running it open source, if you fancy giving us a bit of financial help, then we get GitHub sponsors from £3 a month. That all just helps. I know it's only a tiny amount of money, but for us, it all helps support the work of building this huge thing. I just clicked on the App Store. There's a massive App Store. It's over 500-600 different apps that you can deploy. You can deploy them to because with Kubernetes we can build a Kubernetes cluster. In fact, here is one, as you can see, which shows pods and things like that. You can use WolfRouter. There's simple networking within each server. You've got access to all this stuff. There's virtual machines, system logs, storage. I can log into the terminal just by clicking on terminal here. You're straight into the terminal. There's just quite a lot there to learn and to go through. But the beauty of it is because it's all a web interface, it's pretty easy to kind of understand what's going on. The other thing we built as well is our web display, Wolf host. Somewhere here. Yeah, there's a way of actually accessing. So if you sometimes we create a Docker container, and the Docker container has a local web interface. So we have a cluster browser here, and if I open it, actually it's going to something that doesn't exist, but you can actually use it to access local web services on the cluster without having to expose them to the internet. So I'm just going to stop that and then just start a new one. There we go. And there it'll open eventually. Anyway, yeah, you get the idea. I can actually just access local services without having to, access local services anywhere across all the clusters. And it just saves having to open ports and redirect things, to get access to services. If you just want a quick look at the web interface, there's a lot. And there's Wolf USB as well. You can plug in a USB device on one machine and then route it across the network to another machine to actually use it. So somebody might have found that useful. I did have some fun on the test. There's another video where I actually show using the camera in my office while I'm sitting at home, simply by routing the USB. Get in touch if you'd like to talk about enterprise. And I think that's it for this week. It's been a very long week.